But let's get into the Houston Astros because is their dynasty coming to an end?
It's so they're by exiting early, they won't make the ALCS for the first time in a long time. It was 7 straight ALCS appearances for them, which is phenomenal. Just all the extra baseball they played means they've put together good rosters. They've had good luck with health. They've supplemented the rosters via trade, whatever it is. They banged the trash can if you want to throw that in there too, and it's right to do so. But these aren't the trash can banging Astros. These guys are older now. I know Altuve just signed his extension in early in the year, but they have the Alex Bregman question. Are you gonna keep Alex Bregman? And if so, at what price? First time free agent. He's not gonna mess around. I don't think he's gonna go out and try to get maximum dollars as I think everybody in their right mind would. And then they have some guys, Justin Verlander. What are you gonna do with Justin Verlander? And
right.
Framber Valdez, I believe, is still arbitration eligible, but do you want to extend him at some point? So does it come down to Bregman versus Valdez? There's just a lot going on, and then they sunk $95 million into their closer, and that kind of Hader was okay, but it just seems like they're in a spot where it could fall apart.
It could fall apart.
And adding insult to injury, they have the worst farm system in baseball. It's the lowest ranked farm system. They traded, they that happens when you're a contender. You trade away your good players, but they've stripped it down, and so they are in trouble. They don't have a lot of help incoming, and really, it's not unlike when Drayton McClain owned the team, and the Astros were making deals and signing free agents, and at the time when you sign free agents, you would lose draft picks if they were really good free agents, and so the Astros went years with not replenishing their farm system with high price or with high talent, high draft picks, and then they would trade them away at the deadline to try to add upgrades. And so ultimately, when the Astros were so bad before they started this reign, it was to rebuild. They had early draft picks, Carlos Correa and Bregman among them, and so that's how they rebuilt their team, and through some good scouting and signings like Jose Altuve. So it kind of feels like that's where they're at right now. They can keep this going, patchwork, spending money, not having a lot of internal options and depth, or they have to make some hard decisions and allocate money the right way and maybe make some trades to replenish the farm system. But, I mean, they're still good. Don't get me wrong. They're going to be good. They had a ton of pitching injuries this year. But it just feels like this feels like a crossroads moment.
Yeah, I agree. They're the third highest salary for that team as well. So there are a ton of decisions to consider there. You saw Alex Bregman tweet after the game, "Thank you, Houston."
Yeah.
Very short and sweet, to the point. But just to put this run into perspective, he mentioned that this ends the 7 straight appearances to the ALCS. That started back in 2017.
There you go.
And to add salt to the wound, the guy that made it stop was AJ Hinch. So the manager that started the streak is now the manager that's going to end it in the opposing dugout. And AJ Hinch was actually interviewed about that in last night's game, and he said, "Isn't baseball great? It's unbelievable."
Yeah, AJ is complicated in mind because he was complicit in the trash can thing, and he knew it was going on. He testified to that or admitted that, and that he didn't stop it. So I don't know that he got a raw deal from the Astros when he was fired, but he is a good baseball man. There's no doubt about it. He has a track record of success in a lot of different roles, and the Tigers took a chance on him. They really did, and before his first spring training, he addressed the team and said, "If you have any questions or anything you want to say to me, let's do it right now. Otherwise, and this is it. Let's get out of the way and move forward because that's behind me. That's not who I am or whatever." And he is a good baseball man. I mean, look at this team, and look at how they've held it together and then rallied so well. How he's managed the pitching staff that has 2 starting pitchers, basically, a bunch of young guys with no experience, and here they are, the hottest team in baseball, and now they're going into the division series to play a team they're really familiar with.
They are. It's a Cinderella story for the Tigers because prior to Wednesday's game, there were only 2 teams who had won a postseason game despite a starting pitcher not having a single pitcher throw more than 2 innings. So they used 7 pitchers to complete the sweep. I mean, that's just hilarious, one, and astonishing, unbelievable, and give credit where credit is due.
And it makes things hard on a lineup when you have a bullpen day and you're throwing your best guys. These guys don't get tired, right? So they're coming in firing their best bullets, whereas a starting pitcher, may pace himself early on, or he may wear down. You may be able to take advantage of them, but you're getting the best stuff 7 times, or however many times.
That's so true.
And you're not getting a second look in most cases at the same starting pitcher. So every at bat's different. And so it can be hard. I mean, their way of attacking you, their game plan might stay the same, but the stuff might be different. And so it's hard on an offense. You believe it or not, you do see a lot of low scoring games in which a bullpen game, just because the arms are different, and if they're fresh, then they're going to be giving batters hell.
Right. And I want to touch on Hunter Brown yesterday because this was a really big game for Hunter Brown. He's a younger guy. He grew up in Detroit, Michigan. This is his hometown childhood team. And he actually went to Wayne State, which is a
right
D2
there.
school, just a mile away from Comerica Park. So, he even idolized Justin Verlander, so much so that he mimicked his delivery. So this was, kind of Hunter Brown's entire life flashing before his eyes. And, he had a pretty decent outing, 5 2/3 innings pitched, 2 hits, 1 earned run.
Yeah, he was great.
Yeah. So
he was good. It wasn't his fault,
No doubt.
And just, we haven't mentioned that another former Rangers player is the guy who really
Andy Ibanez
stuck the knife in the last nail in the coffin. Andy Ibanez, definitely, he signed from Cuba. He was a Cuban defector, and so when all these Cuban guys were signing, there were some big ones like Puig, and everybody got super fired up about him. And he just kind of languished in the minors for a while. In 21, he finally got a chance. The Rangers were terrible and rebuilding, and so they gave him a chance. I want to say he was the opening day third baseman, but I'd have to check my records on that. But and it just didn't work out, or maybe he was 22 as the opening day third baseman. Whatever. He just isn't good enough. And Josh Young was coming. They went out and got Simeon and Seager, or planned to do that. They had Nate Lowe at first, so those are the positions that Andy plays. And he wasn't better than them. So, they needed roster spots. They moved on from him. Not a big deal. Signs on with the Tigers. And, it's always nice to see. He's a great guy. He is such a nice guy. Always smiling. Didn't turn down interviews. He didn't speak much English, but was there whenever you wanted him. And just a happy guy, happy with what he had in life. And for him to do this, it's great. I think it's fantastic to see a guy who Rangers fans know, and people in Frisco saw him for several seasons, and not several, but multiple seasons, which you don't do with the minor leaguers. So good for Andy, good for the Tigers, and one last thing, this early exit from the Astros really kind of puts a bow, if you will, on a bad season by the American League West. The reigning world champions, the Rangers, never got going. The Mariners were the Mariners, easy to predict.
Yeah.
The A's were better, but not good. The Angels were terrible, and the Astros were flawed. So it's not, I guess, when you put all those things together, it's not surprising.
We all silly like the mayor.